And we're also watching shares of General Motors after the company raised its full-year adjusted profit outlook for the second time this year. Those shares down just about 0.4%. But our executive editor, Brian Sozzi, had the chance to speak with GM CFO Paul Jacobson earlier this morning. So we've got Sozzi on set with us to discuss. What an honor to have you here,
Yeah,
Sozzi.
hey, honor to see both of you guys. This is, and really, I think investors are probably pretty honored to see this quarter out of General Motors. Big earnings beat again from General Motors, out here for the second time this year, raising its full year guidance. All in all, a good quarter on the back of more sales of large pickup trucks and SUVs, which are very high margin items. So once I swabbed the deck of all that stuff and got to the bottom of the quarter, I asked GM CFO Paul Jacobson his thoughts on the electric vehicle with its tires and its windows, a normal car. You just plug it in and charge it. His thoughts on why this EV, or EVs more broadly, have been so politicized as we go into the election season. Take a listen.
We're trying to rise above politics and make this really about consumer choice. And what we've seen today is about 8% of consumers have chosen EVs, and we want to meet them where they are. We've got a portfolio that in many cases is bringing more range, more capability, and in some cases more affordability, even into the portfolio that exists today. So for us, it's about choice.
And I didn't get the sense, guys, that GM was going to pull back anytime soon on its EV infrastructure build out, its battery plants, and all the jobs associated with that going into election season. Actually, quite the contrary. This sounds like a company that remains all in on EVs. GM expected to make between 200,000 to 250,000 electric vehicles this year and reach variable profits this year, which sets the table potentially for good old-fashioned profits, no accounting stuff for 2025.
Yeah, Brian, there was a lot to like within this report. You could clearly see that by the street's reaction here this morning. There was, though, maybe one area of a bit of a concern here when you take a look at China and some of the trends that we have seen there. Did he talk at all about that and maybe any sort of hope for a reversal anytime soon?
Did you read my story? You're just showing you're good. But yes, I actually asked Paul what their longer term plans are for China. Not really a good quarter for them by any stretch of your imagination. Sales under pressure, profit under pressure. It didn't sound like this is a company that's going to close up shop in China overnight, because it's you've seen a lot of companies, a lot of consumers in China go back to domestic EV makers. But I do think some form of major cost cutting is about to rain down on GM's China business. May not be this quarter, but at some point this year, I think you're going to see some details on a company that's been very aggressive in cutting costs in the United States. That's why they're out there beating on earnings, taking that same mindset and applying it to a China business that is just not cutting it. But then besides that, of course, too, as well, I think the street just keeps getting it wrong on General Motors. Really, for the past year and a half, they have consistently come out here and beat earnings. I don't know. I think the street doesn't realize how reformed General Motors is, making more profitable vehicles. People things actually want to use. It's got good technology, and they're taking market share in EVs. So there's a lot to like.